Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we are gonna add AI to email marketing. You probably know what email marketing is. It's just email and marketing. I mean, there's nothing complex about it. So email marketing is pretty common and it's pretty old. So what if we add some AI to it in 2025? In general, let's say a company or agency has a campaign and they push it out to pretty much all their audience at once through emails. So if they have like a campaign in July, they will create an email template for it with their images and their text, and then they will send it out to the email list that they have at a certain point of time, right? So what's the point of adding AI in this simple format? Like all of this work can be done with simple email templates. So why are we adding AI to it? Because there are some limitations that AI can overcome. So let's say with the AI, the purpose is that we can add these new features. We can track the tone of emails the users have sent. We can track and predict their engagement, the future engagement, right? We can create personalized email based on what we know about the user so far. So all of their personal details can be used to create a like relatable email rather than just a generic email. And we can optimize the time to send them that email based on when they were last active. So let's say their last engagement is at 10 p.m. at night. So probably they are a corporate employee or some busy person. So we will send them the email at like 9 p.m. According to when they are most active. So this is a practical project, and these are just a few practical use cases that we can use in actual production. These are not just for learning purpose, but we can actually use these use cases in real world. Going forward, I'll try to focus on more practical learning on this channel rather than just theory. So let's just see the approach to tackle this problem. By now, you may have your own ideas. You can pause the video right now and think how you would implement this in an app or project, or in your workplace. You can implement this anywhere. It's pretty cheap, and maybe it could work. I haven't tested it, but I think I'll be testing it in future in a real world, right? So here's the approach. We need to build a bot class to handle all the functionalities. So we'll have a general class for AI bot. Then we need a database. So we have to set up the database whenever that bot is initialized. So these are the functions that I have created for our class. These are the major components that will do most of our work. So whenever a class object is initialized, we will set up our database, right? So I will be setting up a local database with Python in SQLite, as it's pretty easy to work with on small projects. And whenever you are initializing your class object, we will be setting up our database that will have different tables. I'll come back to the structure of database, and one function, add recipients, that will take some dummy data and add those dummy data, add recipients. So this will be our initial constructor for our class. And also install this SQLite DB browser, because it will make your project easier to see what's going on in the tables in the actual database. And it just looks like this. You can have different tables, and these are tables and data row wise. You can edit and you will see the result directly. It's pretty fast and won't be. So let's get let me show you on the database screenshot as well on the tables that we are going to create. So this is the database table. We'll have three tables. So one will be campaigns, one is recipients, and the email history. So campaigns is basically the table that the campaign that the marketing agency will create. It will just require a name, the subject of the campaign, and the content point wise, and the dates it's open, and how many times it was opened, that email was opened, and how many times it was clicked, right? Simple data, nothing complex. Then we'll have different table, recipients. This is just to store the data of users, email name, their company, industry, their engagement score, and the last time they opened the email, and the preferred tone that they like to work with. So it could be professional, casual. And we'll have another table, email history. So this table will take two foreign keys, the recipient ID and the campaign ID. So to join these two tables together, I have email history. This will basically give you all the emails for a given campaign that user has interacted with earlier. So let's say you have a user and he responded to 3 emails on a certain campaign, so it will give you multiple emails. It's just opened and clicked and send on at what time the emails were sent and clicked or opened, right? So these two relationships, these two foreign keys will help us out later to extract the data. So now that we are done with database, we'll need a few functions to analyze the behavior of our user. So this is the function that I'll be using, analyze recipient's behavior. It will just return back an object with engagement score, preferred tone, best and R, response pattern, like you can have as many metrics as you want. So this function could use GPT to actually categorize the behavior of the user. So let's say we have 3 emails that the user sent, and we send those 3 emails to GPT to categorize what tone the user was speaking in. Was it professional? Was it casual? And at what time it was sent? We'll just pick the best time the emails were sent, so we know that at that point the user was active. After this, we have reporting functions to get the analytics and to predict future performance of our campaign. So this will also use GPT, the predictions. Anything that has predictions or they are used to categorize some kind of data, you can use GPT. It's cheap and it is reliable than any other ML model. So whenever you find some use case for prediction or categorization, just think of GPT when you can use it, right? So reporting is that only, nothing complex. And finally, we will be creating our campaign. So we'll have a create campaign function. So we'll take the name of the campaign, the content for campaign, the subject and other information. And then we will, for that campaign, we'll generate personalized emails for each of the recipients that we want to send that email to, right? So this will also use GPT again for creating personalized emails using the data and behavior that we already did in analysis part. And then finally, we will just send the campaign using the email libraries and stuff. You'll just you can add some kind of queue like Redis or some Celery to queue up the emails at certain times, and then the runner will run and the users will get their emails at specific times based on when they are most active. Okay. So basically we have 3 functions: this generate personalized email that will call GPT, this predict performance that will call GPT, this analyze tone preference that will call GPT. So this one flow will require 3 calls for GPT. So we'll be using GPT 4o mini because it's cheaper and cost effective. Now I'm just gonna run you through the code. So this is our code. This is just importing all the libraries that we want. Pandas for working with data, SQLite for database, JSON to parse data, datetime, OpenAI for sending queries, SMTP for SSL, these are for email, right, for sending the final part of email, and collections, it's just a standard library for counting certain stuff in given object, right? Then we have our class. First of all, we have initialize. Whenever we are initializing our class, we'll be initializing an OpenAI object. This we'll use to send make API calls to GPT. So this will also require your API key. You can store your API key hard-coded here for project purposes, but use env instead, right? I have this env file that will fetch our API key, and then we have a database file path. So this will create this file in our root directory, and if it's not available, if it's available, then it won't, right? And then we run our setup database function. This is the setup database function. Basically creates 3 tables that we discussed earlier. Create table if not exist recipients. Basically just create recipients with email, ID, name, company, text all, and then create table if not exist campaigns. So this is just another table for campaigns with opens, clicks, email sent, AI insight, subject, content, name, right? And one more table for email history that will connect these 2 tables together and give us the email history of a certain user for a certain campaign, right? This could give multiple emails. So this will use 2 foreign keys, one from recipient ID and one from campaign ID, right? So we have set up our database. This is what our database looks like. Let me get to it. We have 3 tables. Email history, campaigns, recipients. You can browse the data by right clicking on this and browse table. So I have created like 3 dummy data, 3 users with different industries, and you can have campaigns for dummy data. You will have multiple email histories for it, and this will look like this. So it will just say that this recipient with this ID and this campaign was sent at this and open once and at this hour, right? This is integer for now, sent hour, but it could be a timestamp, right? This is just add recipients function. Basically it takes an array of recipients and add it to database. Simply this is SQLite query, so each of these question marks are replaced by these variables that you in the same order that the question mark is. So basically email will replace the first question mark, name will replace second, company will replace third, and industry will do the fourth one. So this is just to add recipient dummy data. We don't have to run this function again and again. You can run it once or create your own data. And now moving ahead, we have finally moved on to the analysis functions, how we will analyze the behavior of a user. So this basically opens a connection to our database, then executes a query that will fetch our email history based on these two foreign keys, like from recipient and campaign. We have let's say we have a recipient email, and for that email just fetch all the email history data based on that recipient ID and campaign ID. So we can have multiple records with this query, and we will do a fetch all. Basically this will fetch multiple records, close the connection. If not history, then we have our default data. So engagement score 0.5, professional, tone, best sent hour 10. So this is the default data. But if history is found, so total emails is basically how many emails we have fetched in the history for that campaign and user. Opens and clicks will just sum up how many times that user clicked or opened on that campaign. Then it will just find the successful hour, best hour. By default it will be 10, else just use the most common occurring hour. We have used counter to see how many times that single hour has occurred in our history, right? So in this array, then we just simply fetch last 3 emails and see what they were talking about. So let's say last 3 subjects user was complaining or something, so it becomes an urgent email that you have to respond to. This is just to get the behavior right. Use AI to analyze tone preference. So this function analyze, this is another function. This will call GPT to check the last 3 emails that we fetched and how many times the user clicked open. So this will just categorize the tone for user: professional, casual, urgent. I'm going to close this, go to this analyze preference. So here we are going to send a prompt to GPT. We are going to tell it to that you analyze these email subjects, the last 3 emails that we fetched, and we have these subjects and with this open rate. So based on this, just categorize this into 4 categories: professional, casual, urgent, or informative. And then we'll use OpenAI client to send an API request with the model GPT-4o mini. Messages this system prompt that you are an email marketing analyst, analyze communication preferences, right? And you in user prompt we just send this whole structure. After this, temperature is 0.3, be as accurate as possible. Then we have a tone we just fetched, and we check if it was within these 4 parameters. If it's not, then by default keep it professional. Again, if it throws any error, then return just professional tone. So this is just to categorize the tone. We can close this function for now. And now these 2 functions that I already did in this report, get analytics and predict performance, these 2 will come later. This optimize send time comes within this analyze behavior. So this is just to find the best time to send the email. Basically fetches the email history of the user. Then if there is no history, then simply just optimal hour by default put it 10. Confidence too low, the user is not likely to engage, and no historical data available. This is just to find the hour with the highest engagement. So whichever hour was reoccurring, we choose that hour, and if not, then by default we are keeping it 10. But if that, and then this final section is just to calculate the engagement rate by hour. So 1 hour could have higher engagement rate, not the higher engagement but rate, like how many users were there for this campaign and how many responded. So this is simply just to find the best, optimize for the best hour. You can do it in any way you like. You can use the user history, you can use their profession to find out which hours were best for them. And then we have our final function, that is for create campaign. Create campaign function basically just takes a name for the campaign and the list of recipients, email list, and it will iterate over the list of recipients and send them personalized emails for our campaign. But for now, for demo purpose, because it will require multiple API calls, I'm just doing it for this first recipient that I have, and just creating a personalized email using this function, generate personalized email. We discussed it before, and just send it to just save the campaign in our list and finally send the campaign. So first let me explain this function. This will call GPT, generate personalized email. So basically just open the connection where this email is found. Just select that row from recipients table. If not recipients, if no recipient is found, just return the error. If it's found, then analyze the behavior again, that engagement score and other stuff for that particular user. Then do create a context. So these will be the factors for personalizing that content. Then just feed a prompt to GPT. Here's the recipient details, here's the campaign details, and here's the personalization requirements. So create a email in HTML format and respond it back like a JSON. So basically you'll be sending in emails, you are sending HTML, right, with some maybe styles, some image. So after GPT returns the data as JSON, you will have HTML in the body part, and you can customize this body with images or more text, more HTML or CSS, some kind of styling or tables, right? So this will be sent in the email, and basically just get the response back from GPT and return it will return your text. So basically your text, you make it into JSON and then return back the result. And if the error, then have some default fallback for errors, because GPT could fail, your API calls could fail. So now I'm going to close this function, and we have created a campaign using this function. And analytics, we don't want to get here much, but this is just to generate reports. Like for example, you are a product manager or some data analyst, so you will just create a function to get reports on the campaigns. Basically find out clicks, AI insights, how many times it was opened, by how many users, and you can write as many functions as you like. And the last was predict performance. So it was just to predict how much the campaign is likely to be engaged with, so based on historical performance, obviously. So just find the last data, find their clicks, send the prompt to GPT with their engagement score, click rate, open rate, and get the response back as JSON, and just store it for now to see how close we are to predicting our engagement score. So finally, I'm just gonna run this code. I have created some scenarios here for demo purposes. So we have like three dummy recipients. First one is just to run behavior analysis for user with no history. So it will return back the default engagement score and stuff for that user. Then I've created a user with some history, with some email history, and it will fetch from database you have already created. So here's the user with 2 email history. My user, like this user, has 2 history. So then we have third demo for AI personalized content. So basically this will create an email template, personalized email template with GPT using the data from database. And then fourth one is just performance prediction, same again using GPT. And fifth one is just to find the best R, to predict the best R if it's working or not. So these are just some simple use cases that you can run, and it will ask for an API key. So I'm gonna copy paste my API key into the terminal, but keep it in env for now and load it from env. So here's the response. Behavior analysis, history wasn't found. So by default it responded engagement score and professional tone for a first demo. Second, history was found, and it's a casual user with best and R at 9 PM with engagement highly likely, 0.85 score. Third was generating our personalized email content. So GPT returned the JSON. This is the JSON, and we can parse it. We have the subject, but it has given us personalization notes as well as the body content for the email. So you can parse this content and use subject as title for the email. So it's working, I guess. Then we have fourth, performance prediction rate, again using GPT. So it's unlikely that people will engage with your campaign. And Then we have AI send time optimization. So no historical data found, so by default it has given us 10. So these were the points that makes this project different than using simple email templates. Basically learn from individual recipient behavior. So over time, when you have more and more data about individuals, you can use it to create more and more personal and relatable personalized emails. And you can adopt the tone of the user as well, basically categorizing it with GPT. And then you can predict performance before sending using the historical data again, and optimize for send times for even single person, and continuously improve over and over as you get more data. You get more insight into how the user will engage with the content, and you can test out different type of content. This is actual working practical project. So this video has gotten quite long and you are probably also bored. I'm gonna add all the content in the Git repository as well as the diagrams. So see you next time with more practical projects to work on. And if you also have any ideas with regarding this email marketing, please let me know. This project can actually be extended to more use cases, and you could actually sell this to some smaller agencies as well if you work on this for a month or so. I can't, so